Right, g'day folks. Welcome to Pixel Peepers. In the house today, we've got Justin Watt from Watt Realty, and he's doing some really fantastic things in the video space, especially on Facebook, Instagram, all the social platforms. So let's get him on the line now, see if he's available. Hello, Justin, you there? Mate, thanks for joining us today for another episode. I've been watching you a lot, especially during these tough times. You've been going live on Facebook, live on Instagram. You've got a full-time videographer on staff that's doing all your listings, mate, the bloopers, loving the bloopers.
For people who have never heard of Watt Realty, can you just give us an overview about what you guys do and how long you've been doing it for?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. So we're an independent real estate agency. We sell residential real estate, and we do property management in the residential space. So majority of our clients are probably mums and dads, families of all shapes and sizes, and that's predominantly what we do. So that's our specialty. We're sort of about 10, 11 Ks out of the CBD, so we are in that sort of family belt. That's pretty much the deal. We started 15 years ago as Watt, but I've been in the industry 22 years. So
wow.
So the reason we're independent and the reason I went down this path is that just getting the flexibility to be able to, I guess, innovate, but also just do the business how I like to do it, which is my driver is really about helping people. It's not, we get paid obviously, but predominantly in our industry, you find that it's commission focused. So for me, it's always been about the satisfaction I've got is from the engagement with the clients and being able to help them. Just bring the stress levels down, affect them a better outcome financially is also important, but primarily my excitement comes from just the engagement rather than the amount of dollars that we make off the back of it. But both of them feed each other over time. So that's pretty much the lowdown.
I saw that firsthand because I did a video with Justin, and we were up at 4 a.m. doing CrossFit, just the people in there in the community, but also we went and did some video where you're helping the community actually just understand, just sort of educate people on what's happening in the market. That was at the Leagues Club there. So, you're out and about helping people wherever you can. So it was cool actually just to drive around with you and, get a bit, and even at the end of it all, I remember we sat down and had a chat for a good hour too. So, there was, you've always got time for people, mate. So hats off to you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Mm.
So you mentioned like you grew your business, and you mentioned like a pretty key word there, innovation. So I guess to kind of leeway into what Shea and I nerd out about every single day, which is about video marketing, and we love seeing people take the reins and start becoming their own content creators almost. So what has that looked like for your business, and how is that? Do you see that indicative as the industry as a whole, or do you think that people are still a little bit slow maybe in your industry to really explore what video can be used for?
Yeah, so I'll answer that as best I can. There's a few questions in there, but I think, predominantly, probably the origins of me really going down the video path was I joined like a business accelerator group, and they were very much centered around video and social media was essentially the baseline there. So once I joined that group, that was their focus. So that was the first time I'd really been exposed to the methodology around it. So I had some growth personally, and then I was like, well, really, this is where it's at. I need to come back and rip in and start getting content out to market. And the biggest challenge was that we were getting a lot of stuff filmed, but there was a lag time in terms of getting it back. So we want to put something a little bit better quality out than just off the phones at the time. Probably because this is probably maybe two to 3 years ago now. So we originally went down the path of like getting video guys in to do stuff, but then obviously it's not time efficient. So we were finding that it was taking a long time for us, in most cases, to get the content back. A lot of it we needed same day or same week, and they weren't geared for that.
Except for me, of course, everything I gave to you was on time, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, mate. You were very punctual. But I mean, in terms of day-to-day stuff, it's like you can't, like, we'll shoot something now and we'll have it out like in an hour, edited and out in social. So really what I was noticing there is we were filming a lot of great content and we weren't getting it back in a timely manner. So that was frustrating. So then I was like, well, really, for us to sort of take this to the level we want, we need to look at investing in speeding that process up. And then that's when we went down the path of getting on the videographer, which B, who we've got now, she's been on for 12 months. So I didn't really know what I was going to do with her initially, because the thing that they obviously talk about building out funnels and, you know, the retargeting and all that sort of stuff that we've set up. What we found in our industry that's been a little bit different is that we, and this might be good for people to know that are maybe in the same industry, is that consistency for us is what's starting to pay dividends now. It's taken us about 12 months of just getting consistent content out. And I just pretty much made up the content. I didn't really have any real experience in it or get any real advice. I was just like, right, what can we do that's just in the course of what we're doing on a daily basis that's going to interest people? Mostly in the entertainment space and probably behind the scenes kind of is what we found that people would engage with. The funny part about real estate is that people, because of the nature of the industry and agents wanting to come after you all the time, if you make a murmuring that you're going to sell, they're like, whatever. So what we find is a lot of our content that goes out, it doesn't get a lot of engagement. It probably does now get a lot of engagement, but that's because we don't scramble all over it. So people are not kind of safe to not to engage with the content. But largely, there's a large percentage of our content that gets very little engagement.
But what do you find
is that what's that?
Sorry, mate. What do you find works better than others? Do you find like the bloopers? Do they work really well? Like what do you find? What content do you find really hits a mark?
Look, I think there's a couple of things with our industry is that people are very skittish about real estate and in engaging in comments and the like with. Like they might watch a video, so we've got those analytics. So we've got, I mean, I think last year we clocked up over 2 million engagements for the year. So, and I've got that printed and we've got it on the wall because it's kind of like a milestone that we had that amount of engagement. So
that's awesome.
So we know that it works, but what we found is that, and we tried just the straight, hey, can we come out and go to your house and all that sort of gear, but it just, we got very little traction and the quality of those leads was poor. And that seems to be the nature of what a lot of the industry is doing. It's really just going down that, it's almost like a digital letterbox drop is what they're using social for. It's not really helping people. So what we're knowing now is that you don't get a lot of direct known inquiry from real estate. What we refer to most of our viewers as is lurkers. So we can see that they're watching, we can see that they're sharing, we can see what they're doing. They're not engaging most times, but when we do get in front of them, they're like, oh yeah, I saw your thing, or I saw this property online, or I heard Justin, you know, the boys come to me sometimes and they're like, oh, Waddy, I'm in a bit of a bind because I'm having this vendor meeting and they're basically reciting back to me what your advice to them was on the video. And they're like, how do I counter that? And I'm like, well, you just have to do what I spoke about, man. Don't, like, it's not a game. Like, you're obviously, you're not in alignment with what we're about. So largely, probably the hardest thing that I've got in terms of the content that we put out is actually getting my team to watch it, because it's not interesting to them because they're in the business. So, and they have to hear me all the time. So, but it's more, that's what we know. So we know that, I'll go to the daycare centres with my, to drop off my son, little 18-month-old son, and they'll be like, oh, we saw you live the other day, or I've been watching your stuff, or oh, I told a friend about this property, or you know what I mean? So we know that people are tuning in. I wouldn't have known that they even were following us or whatever. So I guess the reason I express that is that it's more about visibility. Yeah. And there's some businesses that are really conducive to that the funnel methodology in its purest form, and you'll get the hook, you'll send them the right content, and you'll work those funnels out. And we still do that. However, because of the time it takes us to make a decision in our space, it's different. Like if you're thinking about buying a small purchase, you can make a decision quickly. If you've been retargeted for something that's on your radar and it's doable now, they can take you down a process where you'll commit. So your personal development guys and your coaches and all that, they seem to do it really well. And straight product sales, if it's a product someone's chasing, if you do that well, they'll be there. For us, we found it to be different. So I don't know if that helps in terms of what we've experienced over time.
Especially now, mate, as you're saying, like a lot of people are still counting likes, but there's still, like, even right now, a lot of people going through the news feeds. Now, they may not be liking, but they're seeing. So they don't have to like, but they know that you're present there. Now, as we just talked about before, like I know, I knew a few things about you before I met you, but I know now more about you just following you online. There's the rugby, the kids, the family, the wild costumes that you wear. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff builds a character of who you are personally as well as a brand, as a personal brand.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the learning. It's about what do you put out there? What are you prepared to put out there? And then we were just chatting about this yesterday in our training about the direction moving forward with the socials, because we've been heavy into it with the videographer for 12 months. I just said, we've got real chops to get this content to film a lot of content and to get it into market. We need to go to a different level. Primarily because people are consuming more content at the moment than ever, based on the current circumstance. So I said we really need to be more visible than we ever have been in the past, and we need to be like looking at what's working and what's going to be able to. Because for me, it's just an opportunity for us to grow the brand, and for the guys, the individual people within the team, to grow their individual brands as well. So there's more visibility from everybody. Like we've built business pages for everybody in the business now. Videographer, marketing support. Like it doesn't matter who you are. Like we've loaded up with pages for everybody now. So and we're going to start to encourage them to get content back to us, and we'll obviously produce some content as well and get their profile out there, because you just don't know who's watching.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but if you're enjoying this podcast and you want to learn how to make great videos for your business, don't worry, we've got you covered. We've put together a 32-page ebook that's packed full of gold to get you out of the blocks. So head over to No Time Manual Skill and get started. Back to the podcast.
Mate, what's the instructions to the videographer? Is it just capture anything that's cool at the moment? Like obviously you got some set things with listings, but what's the instructions for your videographer?
Yeah, so essentially what we do is when I sat down at the beginning, I was like, well, obviously we've got content. So we busted into two things. One is content for selling a product, which is the houses. And then the other one is, behind the scenes. So each week we do a weekly wrap of what we got up to. And that's to give that brand tonality and some insight as to what we've got up to. Normally that's fairly centered around the office and what we're doing at a business level. Sometimes we drag other things into it depending on what we're doing, if I'm talking an event or whatever. So each week we do a wrap of the week. That was. So that's more probably on the entertainment kind of pillar.
Yep.
So that's just an easy watch. It's fast. People can just get a sense of what we got up to for the week and go from there. Then we have obviously the lives, and then we film a weekly update, which is specifically real estate related, what's happening at the moment. So we do that every week, and that goes into the newsletter, EDM, and also we put that online as well. We do part of the newsletter, we have some written pieces, so we do put those out onto social media as well. On that side of it. So they're actually just straight written pieces with a cool photo and whatever. So that's not necessarily a video, but we do one video that is that, and we sort of put it across the different platforms. And then what we're looking to do now is just increase the behind the scenes increase the visibility of the agents and what we're doing. Because what I've sort of likened it to is we've got sort of three support agents off the back of those lead agents. So we technically got 6 agents, but there's 3 leads. So what I've said to those guys, including myself, is that we need to up the visibility at the moment. And what I mean by that is that we need to be telling people what we're doing. So we wouldn't normally get on and say, oh, I just sold a thing, or I just listed this thing, or whatever. Like, and we probably won't do it that blandly. We've got a different strategy around it. However, at the moment, people are really worried that houses aren't selling and the prices are falling through the floor, and the media is just putting out so much craziness.
A lot of fake news.
At the moment, I just went, well, I think the opportunity for us is visibility. So for us to do that, we need to be just like basically documenting our days and getting that onto the stories. And so we've got a strategy that we sat down and worked out around what content we need daily. We've already started moving into that this week, and we'll build on it. It's new for us to a degree, so it'll take a little while to, build. But
do you go live Friday every afternoon, no matter what? Because I have a feeling I see you.
I've only missed. I think I've missed in 14 months. I think I've missed 2 Fridays.
Yeah. See, I think there's that, Nick, where we're talking about this consistency as well, is I start to get a feeling in my head Friday afternoon, oh, Justin's about to go live. So it's like a Friends episode, Wednesday, 7:30. Every Wednesday you get that jingle in your head. But you start to go, oh, I wonder what, like I'm not in the market, but I know that you're going to be going live Friday every afternoon.
Yeah.
So,
and I've been going live at night in recent weeks as well, just around between 7:30 and 8:30.
Yep.
And I've just been playing around with that. So I went on a whole bunch of times, but I haven't been speaking really about real estate, a little bit. So what I've been doing is I've just been coming on and breaking down the conversations I've had in the day with different people. So tonight I'll go live, and what I'll do is I'll talk about today. So I'll talk about what we're speaking about, and I'll talk about what my clients are talking to me about, and it's really like a download of what I'm seeing, and it's largely around the circumstance that we're in at the moment. So, and what I found is I've been getting a lot of people following me and a lot of engagement at night, and the same people are coming on. So I'm building that following, and the main basis.
Sorry, mate. I think it's a great opportunity right now to ask experts a lot of questions. When people go live, Instagram and Facebook, there's experts online everywhere, and all you got to do is ask them a question, especially in Australia, and they get back to you. So if you could spend 10 hours researching something, or just ask the person who knows something about it. But these lives, I just think they're underutilized at the moment, and there's so much more power and potential behind them to ask any question to an expert, especially in this pandemic right now.
And there's so much. Sorry, just to add to that, there's often thoughts that we get is from a video production standpoint is when we mention the word live video, people can get very scared with live video because you can't edit it, you can't cover something up, and so I'd be interested to know, like, how do your lives, do you feel, compare today versus whenever you started doing them?
Good question.
It depends on how well I know the content. So the Fridays, because it's real estate based, on the Friday, I find that I've always nailed that quite well.
Awesome.
So I've found that I've been pretty consistent. I would have definitely improved from the first one, no doubt. There has been times where if I'm not as prepared and I haven't done the research, or I haven't read the notes well enough so that it's really clear in my head. So I've been a bit caught up in a bell or something that day, and I've left myself short on time, and then I've rushed in. Often it won't flow as well. Or sometimes probably the learning has been I've maybe bitten off a little bit too much, and go from there. I always have the notes there. You can't see them, and I'm not reading them. But I've always got them in iShot just so that I can make sure that I'm there. I often get the videographer to film that as well, because we'll often cut pieces of that up, or she'll just download the live and she's been editing some of those. If I had like a minute where it was really, profound, we've been just getting snippets of that
How's that set up, mate? Have you got like one, because you're going Insta Live and Facebook Live at the same time?
Yeah, so we're doing both for ages, and then we've just dropped back to Facebook now, and now we're just trying to see, we're just testing different things. Like, so we'll probably load back up again with the lives for both again, because we're going on a drive through Insta more on the story side of things. So I'll go more live on both platforms. So I'm just going to try both platforms and just see. But we do have a bigger following on, like we've got quite a big following on the Watt Realty page, and then I'm just putting my following on my business page now, and that's grown prolific. Like in the last, since I switched to that personal page for business, that's really, that growth's been accelerated. Like I think I went from like 0 people on that to 500 or 600 in like quite a short amount of time. Yeah, well. And then we share it obviously as well. So the main thing when I go live is I'll let the girls know, even if it's at night, and the girls so I've got Meg's in marketing and I've got B, the videographer. So I'll text them and they'll share it across all of the business pages that we've got. They'll share it across the personal pages. They'll jump online, and then it helps drive the reach. So you just show up in more avenues. Facebook's probably better for that in terms of that. And predominantly with Watt Realty, I go live through Watt Realty's handle for Insta. So so we're like, I guess we're sort of, and it's sort of a bit of a moving target as well. So not that we're an expert at it, but we just try different things. And
do you find that other real estate agents are seeing what you're doing and following suit?
Look, a few of them have tried to, but there's very few that I know have actually bitten the bullet and hired someone.
Yeah.
So I think that you need to have someone there who can edit, who can film.
Yep. Full time.
If we film the content, we just shoot it through to B, and she'll do whatever needs to be done to it.
Gotcha.
You just don't have the capabilities to do that. You could just go live all the time, and that would be a fine. Like if you didn't have a videographer and you wanted to just do it, live would be fine. You could just go live on Insta. You could then go live on Facey. You could roll it that way. You can then download those and you could send it off to an editor, even if you had one overseas, and they could agree that if you had an idea of what you wanted the messaging to be, so they could cut that down and put it in banners or however you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So I think largely, but when you've got someone driving it, that's different. Like because B's hungry for content. So she's got things that she needs to film for the week and for the days and all that sort of stuff. So she's like, and I'm on her, I'm like, this is what we need. This is what we're going for. So she's like, on the guys, like we need, like, so you got someone there that's on you. It's kind of like a coach kind of thing.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, like Nick and I have talked about this a few times. Like, I think that's one, like, it's nice to have someone who knows how to edit and knows, the difference between 1080, 720 and 4K and all that sort of stuff and can shoot it. But obviously it's still the values in the content, and that's the priority and what you're actually talking about. But I think the other aspect that is putting a lot of people off too is they talk badly about themselves. Like it's very, you're very vulnerable in front of the camera. If you haven't combed your hair, if you haven't had your coffee, if you're having a bad day and you've got a lot of negative thoughts going on, that can stop you from jumping in front of the camera and actually producing something that's, someone really wants to hear. But it's just one of those things you don't want to miss the boat on at the moment, is it? Like it's just, and especially it's huge,
Yeah, what you're talking about there is being communicated to me by the team before. A lot of the guys don't want to look bad or come off looking bad.
Yep. So
they're worried about what people will think. But I just said, look, at the end of the day, you are who you are. So, and you might stammer and stutter and you might struggle a little bit.
That's human.
But I don't think I think most people watching aren't comfortable in front of the camera, whether it's photo or whatever. And I think that most people, my feel would be that they would just go, oh, at least they're having a crack. Like we were watching a lady on stage filming something before, and her eyes were darting all over the place, and she was coming in and she was going out. It was wild, you know, it was a wild ride. It was really an assault on that. She had all sorts of stuff happening with her makeup, and it was
to Nick and I, that's just a challenge, you know.
We just all the boys we're having a laugh. Like it was funny. Like and I think that she would have genuinely been hard to watch. So you kind of need someone who's there to say, look, that's actually shit. We need to re-record that, because it was edited as well. And what didn't make it? This was what made it.
Also, Nick and I, it's got to be done with tact. You can never actually tell someone that there's shit in front of the camera, otherwise they just keep getting worse. But it's like, I know what you mean though. Like you've got to pull it up and put it in a nice way. Yeah.
It was actually she's going to attack. You don't have to attack me with what you're saying. You can just tell me, you know. So they could have just said, hey, you just need to stand there. Don't advance towards the camera. Like and you know, darting around and, you know, like sort of like it was wild. So, but in saying that, when we all stopped having a laugh about it, we were like, good on her for having
most definitely.
Her content, it was probably a bit long as well, and it was a bit boring. It got a bit boring. However, we were like, good on her. She's an older lady. You know, there's some good feedback there if she was open to it. Probably won't be, so it probably won't get there. However, like by the end of it, we were just like, at least she's having a dig. You know, like
exactly.
It's going to be the general public's take. They're going to go, at least she's having a crack. Yeah, look, it was a bit of a wild ride, but good on her for. I think
you always take your hat off to someone who just has a crack, you know, and good, bad, shit, somewhere in between. Having a crack. And I think that's probably the most important thing for most people out there who want to shoot videos. Just have a crack, give it a go. You can't start winning Oscars, you know.
That completely comes around to one of your first points, Justin, which is about consistency, because you only get better by giving it a crack and coming back to keep improving. It's a nice little closed loop that way.
Yeah, definitely. It's the key to it. I mean, and it's probably the same message you get from anyone that you speak to that's doing it. And consistency for us is key, because it is a slow burn. Our marketing strategy, we know now, we are getting business off the back of it. A lot of it is covert business, and you don't find out later that it was a thing until you've listed something and they have been watching, and then they do mention something that we spoke about in the context of their sale or what have you. So we know now that people are watching. Sometimes you feel like no one's watching and it's not reaching anyone. You know, for us, we know that it's happening. So there is a challenge to just working away and being consistent with it and not really getting that instant gratification from what you're doing. So we thought 12 months was a good amount of time. We're thinking now that another 12 months is probably when we're going to start to see. We get good response from the direct sales stuff, because people, if they're in the mode, they'll engage, and that's cool. On the general content side and trying to flush different kinds of clients out or get different kinds of engagement, it's a slow burn. So, you know, I think you need to understand what business is about. And for us, we've realized that it's not going to be immediate like other businesses. If you've got a business that's immediate, that's awesome. Really, for us, we realize now that people are lurking. They're lurkers on social of real estate. They're watching all the content. They're interested in what you eat, where you train, what you do, all that sort of stuff, in anticipation for when they want to do something in 3 years' time. So you can't just do it for a month and then think in 3 years' time that you're still going to be on their radar.
It'll pay off, Mate, we've almost out of time. Nick, we've got about 2 minutes left. Nick, did you have any other questions you wanted to throw at Justin?
Mate, I just want to say the Watt Realty pages are full of awesome content. There's some great mix of stuff in there. So for anyone interested in having a look at what Justin and the team are up to, go and check them out. But if people want to get in touch directly, Justin, or want to start following the group, where do they go?
They can just follow Watt_Realty on Instagram, Watt Realty on Facebook. They can follow me specifically, just Justin Watt at Watt Realty on Facebook. And they can I've got Justin Watty is my personal profile on Insta, so anyone can follow me on that if they want to just see about my life. So, and then we've got all the agent stuff. If there's anyone that they want to plug into at an agency level, well, they can do that. What we are looking at doing at the moment, where we think the opportunity is in the stories. Where we're going to ramp up stories across platforms. So, and we're going to do that in a format where basically once we've done, so say I went and listed a property this afternoon, I'm going to jump on and I'm going to go bang, have a look at this beauty. I'm going to put some photos up prior to photos and video being taken. But if you're looking for, say, something for 800,000 in this area, just DM me. And we started doing a couple of those this week, and we've already got direct messages straight away from clients. So people watching again. So for us, it's just like visibility.
Awesome.
Around just what we're doing, and it could just be where I go for lunch. And people are interested.
Yeah. Mate,
that's awesome.
Time's almost up there. We've got to upgrade to bloody premium Zoom. This 45 minutes. But,
we're bootstrapping. Sean.
Mate, I really appreciate your time today. And thanks so much for all that information. And stay safe during this this tricky time. But mate, really appreciate all the information, and get on board, follow Justin wherever you can, because he's kicking goals. And as you said, like, consistency is a big part of it. But mate, thank you so much for your time.
That's right. That's cool. Thanks, Russ. Cheers.
All right, that was pretty cool, Shea. Hey,
it was good. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Pretty cool.
Justin.
Yeah, really nice guy. I got a lot out of that. Hope you did too. And of course, if you want to hear more guests who are really forging a path with videos and content creation in their businesses, then make sure to subscribe for the next Pixel Peepers podcast. We'll be somewhere and you'll be able to watch the next episode soon. Awesome. So, Justin, what is what's the iteration? What's the evolution like looking forward into what you're going to be doing next with video?